have a confession. I'll go ahead and have to say that a lot of people, well, really nobody, but some of you might have been wondering where my Type R has been. It's been quite a few months since I posted a video with it, and I wanted to go ahead and clear the air a little bit. As of my last track postings with the Type R, my 3 Honda Civics videos at Atlanta Motorsports Park, I had a small issue with fuel starvation. I wasn't expecting, I think it was just a matter of not keeping enough eye on my fuel gauge, fuel level at the track, but it went into limp mode and gave me some problems, and I didn't really allude to any of those problems because I thought it was a one-off. I didn't do my due diligence to keep enough fuel in the car, and fuel starved and had an issue. But when I took the car to Barber for my last my WRL track day, I started having a lot of issues with the car. And I haven't made any posts about that. Was having fueling issues without really fully diagnosing the car. I narrowed it down to possibly a fuel pump issue, low pressure fuel pump issue. It was a known issue with the Type Rs, and the car was so heavily modded with nearly full bolt on, custom tuned. It was running 400 wheel horsepower. It was just starting to become a mechanical nightmare for the track day, and I ultimately missed out on my seat time. I missed the last 2 sessions, and most of the sessions I was in were cut short from issues with the car. So I made a snap decision to demod the car. I decided to take all the performance parts off of the car and put it back to performance stock, keep the car, and take the proceeds from selling my parts to buy a dedicated track car, since this track thing is really my thing now. And adult life happens, and we needed to get the house painted, and so race car money went away, and I wasn't having the same satisfaction driving the Type R anymore. With the back at stock horsepower, after having 100 more horsepower, it felt slow. I mean, it wasn't slow, but it felt slow, and I wasn't having as much fun driving it on the street as I used to, and I couldn't take it on the track anymore, but was kind of planning on getting it back on track. So I bought an aftermarket low pressure fuel pump that was higher flow, a Deechworks fuel pump. But ultimately, I broke a turbo stud while I was demodding my car, taking the downpipe off. It's another common problem with the Type Rs. And the car was down for many weeks while I was trying to myself drill and extract the broken stud, to no avail, and I ultimately had to remove the turbo entirely and take it to a machine shop to get the broken stud removed. So I got it back on the street. This story is kind of out of order, but so getting back to it, what happened to my Type R? that's why I haven't been posting any track videos with it, because, you know, I haven't been driving it on track, and I haven't been posting any installs or mod videos, because I ultimately actually took almost every mod off of the car. But, you know, I decided I'm keeping the car, but was just itching for a way to have a car of my own to get back on track. You know, I'm driving the Mini Cooper with my Champ Car team, the Frugal Maniacs. We're driving that Mini Cooper, so that's why all my track videos have been in the Mini Cooper. We've been practicing for a race that we've been trying to get ready for, and finally somebody, you know, my buddies kept asking me, "Oh, you're gonna sell your car? You're gonna sell your car?" I'm like, no, I'm keeping the car, and like, I didn't figure there was any way I would, you know, get the money I would need for the car to sell it in order to, you know, get something else. And sorry, it's hot as all get out here in Georgia. But they kept asking me, "Oh, you can sell it," and I said, you know, finally I kind of came around and said, well, you know, if somebody offered me what I owed for the car, you know, like if somebody offered me enough to buy me out of my loan on the car, I would consider letting it go, you know, but only to replace it with, you know, something, you know, just right. And you know, I played around on the internet and, you know, did the Carvana searches, and Carvana was, I think, severely undervaluing my car, honestly. I think they offered me like 26 and change, and they're selling these used Type Rs right now for like 40 grand, which is 4,000 more than MSRP when they were new. But you know, in this crazy time of used cars, I went by a car dealership locally and decided to take a test drive, and you know, ultimately knowing before I even test drove a car that you know, without getting the right money for the trade, that it wouldn't matter if I liked the car I test drove anyway. I wasn't going to pay anybody to trade my Type R. So I go and I take this test drive, and I have this amazing test drive. And when I get back from this test drive, I sit and I wait for a little bit, and they come back and they're like, "Well, let's go talk some numbers. We think you'll be very pleased." And I was like, huh. Ultimately, they offered to buy me out of my loan at the offer they gave me for the car. It bought me out of, you know, my payoff, and you know, offered me a payment that was a little bit lower, and you know, so it's kind of a hard decision, but I traded my Type R. I traded my Type R, so I've been not forthcoming with it because things have been crazy here lately, and I've already actually started modding my new car. But this is my 2016 Mazda MX-5 Miata ND1. I optioned for the BBS wheels and Brembo brake package. Now, we're going to go more into this car. I've been getting it ready for the track, and I've already, you know, the first thing I said to somebody, the first two, 3 days I owned it, another enthusiast actually, Miata enthusiast, asked me, you know, "What do you think of it?" And I said, "Man, it drives great. I honestly love this car, but it needs coilovers." The first couple of days I already said, you know, the suspension's soft, it needs some suspension. So I put Koni Sport Shocks and Eibach Sport Springs, Sport Lowering Springs on the car already, and put some very sticky, bigger than stock tire size 200 treadwear Falcon tires on it, and I've got a whole mess of Hawk brakes and slotted rotors, racing brake fluid, and steel braided brake lines to put on it, because we are going to the track tomorrow and I cannot wait.